don't quit when you don't pass the audition, when you're told no, because if you quit when you're told no, when you're told it's not your time, not you right now, if you quit then, it was never your dream to begin with. Welcome back to the Samantha Show. I'm your host, Samantha. You can call me Sam. Just don't call me Sammy. And we are back, season 3. Oh, we took a long break there. After 2 years, no break, she went and fell off the podcast planet for a couple months there. I needed it though. You know, when you're like, man, last year was just a roller coaster for me, truly, in so many ways. Amazing, but amazing ups, amazing downs, all over the place. Yo, by the time we got to December, I was like, I got nothing left. I need a break, but we are back. We are refreshed. We are feeling good. We got a whole new plan for the podcast, okay? And I am so excited to share with you guys what that plan looks like and what you can expect in season 3 of the Samantha Show. So let's catch up though a little bit first. You know, check in. What do they call pulse check? You know, how you doing? How we doing? We're in January. We're moving, grooving into 2025. We taking care of our mental health. You setting boundaries where you need to. You giving yourself time and space when you need to. You got to take care of you, okay? You got to take care of you. So I hope you're doing well, and we're shaking here in 2025, doing good things. So just as to recap for last year, man, last year was a big year for me. A lot of super highs and a lot of super lows. And, you know, by the time I got to the end of the year, I was kind of mentally wrecked. When I tell you there was no more gas in the tank, she had no more gas in the tank. And as someone who seems to power on like an LED light, it just never dies, that's typically how I live my life. I went out, the light burnt out. The impossible light burnt out. And so I had to take some time away, and I had to give myself some time and space to recharge. Really, just to recap last year for me, man, my cycle bar studio closed, right? And then I went and I won Mrs. Ohio, and then I had to go to Vegas for nationals, and then I planned this big car show, and then I started teaching at Shred 415. Then I quit my cycle bar corporate job, and then the ambassadorship that I had for 2 years ended because that business closed. There were so many ups and downs. And that last podcast episode that I had recorded last year, actually right before Joe and I sat down to record that episode, I was walking down the stairs, and I just sat on the stairs, and I looked at Joe. He was down in our kitchen, kind of connects to our stairs there. I sat down. He was busy in the kitchen. I just started crying, and he was like, "What's wrong? What's going on?" And I was like, I don't know, but I just feel this heaviness on my heart, and there's so much good in my life. I don't understand why I'm crying. Why am I crying? Why do I feel sad when life is so good? And, you know, I'm a big believer in mental health, and I believe in therapy, and I don't think you need to be off the deep end to go to therapy. I think people should go to therapy the same way they go to the gym, the same way they eat healthy, the same way they do an annual visit with their, family physician. I think people should just have a therapist that they can use and go to regularly as well. So I decided to make an appointment with my therapist. I'd kind of gotten out of my routine after nationals. I was seeing her pretty regularly. And then again, life just got super crazy. But I know I needed to prioritize therapy again. So I went back, I saw my therapist, and I was like, hey, so many amazing things happened this last year. And I was like, but I am just sad. I'm just crying a lot. And I don't know why I'm crying. And, the great thing about therapists is they kind of help you talk through it, right? We kind of dissect things. And what we found is a lot of the triggers and the times that my emotions would come up was when cycle bar would come up in conversation. And upon reflection, what I had realized was, I lost something really major last year. And as much as I gained, I just lost something really, really big. And there were definitely moments that I kind of process that, I recorded very emotional podcast episodes about those life changes and stuff like that. So I had those emotional moments, but there was so much going on last year with the pageant and with this car show that I planned and all these little other aspects that I really had not given myself an extended period of time to acknowledge and recognize what I had lost in my life. And when we had gotten to the end of last year and all the dust settled from the craziness of last year, I felt the hole that was in my heart, like really deeply. I was cleaning out my closet, trying to get rid of some clothes. So just a lot of things. It was like all this emotion from last year was like coming to the surface. And great therapist, great advice. And she was like, well, we can address this in two ways. So we know right now the sadness that you feel is because of the loss of Cycle Bar in your life, which makes sense, right? 7 years was a huge passion. A lot of people don't understand why I'm so sad about it. I think you'd have to be in the brand and be as bought into it and passionate about it as I was to truly understand that loss and what that felt like. But what she said, do you want, she's like, oh, I think we have two options here. Do you want to try to replace what you lost with something else, like find a passion that you care that much about? Or do you want to process the loss and learn how to move forward with some of that pain that you feel? And as much as I wanted to find a way to heal and not hurt and find something as passionate that I love as much as I loved Cycle Bar, I knew that it almost couldn't be replaced. And I was afraid that I'd be searching and trying things just because I was trying to fill that void. And so I knew that the only way really to move forward was to process and recognize the grief that I felt with the loss of Cycle Bar through everything that I gained. And look, I am grateful. I am so grateful. I truly am. But I had a lot to process with all that, with that journey and that experience. So really even recognizing that, like one session with my therapist, and that's why I believe therapy is so important, is even after that session, realizing that and talking about it, I started to feel better. And then from that point on, I just gave myself permission to not be reaching for something, to not feel forced to create something. I love to create. I love to go. And it was nice to say, you know what? We're going to take a pause. We're going to refresh. We're going to recharge. There are no goals. There are no expectations. There are no deadlines. There is absolutely nothing. And it was good for my soul. It was really good for my soul. Now, I'm not the kind of person, I don't like to stay in that place for a long time. Like, you know, if you're like me and you're a go-getter and you're a type A and you like to do all these things, like we can't stay in that place for a long time and then I'll be bored. And then like a different type of like depression, sadness kicks in. You're like, you can't stay in that place for too long. But sometimes in life, we need to pause. And we need to give ourselves permission to pause. We need to give ourselves permission to slow down and just be present. So that's really what I did the last couple months. And it was fantastic. We had a great holiday season. I post a lot on socials, and not like anybody missed a beat because, I've been posting about it all the time. But, it was a great holiday season and a great end of January. And, I had to adjust into some new things, working with Joe and teaching my classes at Shred, and all of that's going very well. But I needed to fall into that new routine. And then it gave me time to think about, what do we do with this podcast, Samantha? What do you want to do with this? I started this show almost, May of 2023. And really for the last 2 years, I gave myself complete permission to just do whatever I wanted every single episode, basically, and just have fun, right? That my only goal with this podcast has always been just to have fun. And I will do it as long as I'm having fun. And that's really it. That is the only mission. That is the only goal. And one person could tune in, 300 people could tune in each week, 1,000 people, right? And it varies, honestly, depending on the episode. We're all over the board with how many people listen. But, I wanted to keep doing this. And what I decided when I took that break, and one thing I was sure of, even when I knew that I was going to take the break, was we're coming back. Like I told you, it will be back. I truly enjoy doing this. I enjoy connecting with you. I love hearing the messages that you listen to the show. People reached out to me that the Samantha Show was their #1 podcast for the year, which just melts my heart. It makes me feel so, so great. So thank you guys for tuning in. I hope you are back. We got a fun year ahead of us here on the Samantha Show. So this is what I did. During my break, it was a nice time to reevaluate what we're going to talk about on the show, what is the purpose of the show. And this year I want to bring in a little more guidance. Okay. And I know you guys love the Joe and Sam show, and he may make his cameo appearance from, time to time. But when I looked at my analytics of the show, I realized that like 95% of the people who listen to this show are women, which doesn't surprise me. And I also realized that my episodes, when I talk related to fitness, health, fitness, wellness, tend to do about 4 times better than any other episode. So knowing those two things, what I decided was this is a podcast for the girls. Hey, ladies, this is a podcast for my women. Obviously, anybody is welcome to tune in, and I hope they do, because I think there's so much that men, women, anybody could take from this Samantha show, and I hope they do. But I am speaking to the girls, okay? And that just is what it is. And that's my social media analytics are very similar. A lot of women connected on there. So I want to cater to us, let it be our year. Let's lean into this. So what I'm going to do is really what I want to do is focus on targeting women, targeting you. And I want to focus each month or month and a half on a specific topic. Okay. So we're going to kick it out of the gate. We're going to talk about fitness. Okay. And I plan to have a couple special guests on. We've already got some episodes recorded with some awesome guests. We're going to talk about fitness for the first month and a half. The next topic focus is likely going to be women's topics related to mental health. I have a guest that I plan to have on talking about a woman working in a men's world as a first responder. I plan to talk about fitness as it relates to the different stages of life for us, as well as getting a therapist on to talk about our mental health. I'm looking for an OBGYN to come on to talk about that time of the month, because I'll tell you what, learning how to navigate our emotions, our hunger, our sleep, our energy throughout the cycle phases of our month, that's a hot topic. Like, I don't know about you, but if someone could coach me on how to thrive throughout my cycle for the whole month, I want to know about it, right? So we're going to talk about things like that, health, nutrition, wellness, all these different things. So really just bringing more guidance to the show. That being said, although my fitness, health, wellness episodes do the best, y'all like Joe too. I know you do. A little bit of that Sam and Joe, and we've got great chemistry, and he understands my purpose with the Samantha show, but I'd love to just bring him on sometimes too, because he sure does make us laugh, right? So that's what you have to look forward to. Season 3, the Samantha show. Buckle up, get ready. We are taking care of ourselves this year. When I got into 2025, it was New Year's Eve, getting into that New Year's resolution. I am big on setting goals. You know she is, right? And I like to set goals, and then I like to make sure they happen for me. I'm not setting any goals this year. Not one. I'm not going to set any goals. I decided for 2025, I'm going to be present and I'm going to receive, because I've been working my ass off for too long. Like, it's time to sit and receive, universe. Okay. And already we are just about 1 month into the year. Amazing opportunities have opened up. I'm so excited to share them with you. And so I'm going to receive this year. And my invitation for you, ladies, is to receive, because you've been working your ass off. You a mama. You might be a mom. You might be a daughter. You might be a sister. You might be a wife. You've been working hard, okay? This is permission to just receive. Let's receive. Because all we do is hustle. Like, sometimes we forget to pause and reap the benefits of the hustle that we've done. And that's what I'm doing in 2025. Now, I'm going to still work, right? Like, I can't not be doing things, but I'm not going to put the pressure on myself to win. And what that means, I mean, win at life, right? I'm a very driven go person. And it's not always about achieving that thing. Sometimes it's about just showing up and receiving what comes your way. Because I think a lot of goodness comes your way. And this is permission for you to do the same with me. Now, maybe you got a goal, and if you do, I'm with you in that. And I think we could talk about goal setting and things like that too, and the confidence that we find when we embark on a journey to achieve those things. But if you're a little bit like how I'm feeling, like, man, we've been going, we've been working, let's receive. and keep putting one foot in front of the other and see what amazing things 2025 has in store for you, has in store for me. Can't wait. Welcome back to the Samantha Show, Season 3. Here we go. I hope you have a great day because you deserve it.